Good.
Good evening and welcome to Chasing Prophecy on 105.3 New Orleans, where we discuss anything and everything beyond the scope of normal. I'm Jenny Nicasio, along with my co-host John Kelly, Jason Iapetro, and Trisha Moe. How's it going, guys?
Happy Torture Tuesday.
Happy Torture
It's not going to be
Tuesday.
torturous. Maybe it's
Every
Nah.
Tuesday's Torture Tuesday.
Maybe. I wanted to show our new intro, but I can't because I'm a ding dong.
See, Torture Tuesday at its finest.
We should. Yeah.
I was so excited. I was looking forward to that the most out of this.
Well, we can play it. We can play a version of it that's not perfect if you guys want to hear it. No,
let it wait. Let it wait.
Okay, I don't have a chin. I'm so dark over here. You can't even see my chin.
Trish,
Your chin disappeared.
By the name of Gary, who says you're gorgeous.
Oh,
Gary Brian Gacoma.
I know somebody else that thinks you're gorgeous too, but I won't say.
Oh, thank you, Jenny. But, anyways,
Yeah. I'm glad you could keep a secret too.
Yeah, I see. Okay.
Trish is blushing. Look at her. Look at her blush.
I know. I'm gonna have to get dark lights, so y'all can't tell my.
Oh wow.
Hey, Johnny, how are you?
She's good. Hi, Jenny. Okay, what we're going to do is we have a really cool guest tonight, and he's backstage, but I want to introduce him. But I want to make sure I have everything open. Guys, you can all comment. If you have a question, you can go ahead and post it in the chat. And just give me 1 second. I have to make sure we are all up in here. Yeah. Okay. You guys all know that we are pretty much what's it called? Evolving with the paranormal investigation. I don't know if you guys know it, but UFOs and Bigfoot are all pretty much, I think, in the same genre. I don't know about you guys. What do you think?
No, I agree. They are.
Do you think?
Yeah,
Yep,
definitely.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, what do you think about Trish? What do you think about UFO? I mean, Bigfoot. Do you think they're real? I mean, do you think he's a cryptic creature that hangs out?
I do, especially coming from upstate New York. You know, there's so many places that are unexplored in the world that it's hard to believe that we've seen everything out there. So,
and Sean, you pretty much believe in the UFO?
Oh, absolutely. Right now, since we started the show a year and a couple months ago, I mean, I just really got into it, and then talking with Joe, our producer, and how it talks about the Rh negative effect, and I'm O negative, blood, that I've probably been abducted, and I'm pretty cool with that,
Yeah. So we have somebody really special that he's really cool. He's called he has a website and he has a YouTube channel, and it's called The Vault of Nightmares. No, that's kind of scary. So, okay, it's a collection of stories that are sure to give one the chills. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and bring him on. I don't have too much about him. It was, on him as bio wise, I guess we couldn't connect that way, but I did request it.
We'll have to get everything out of the vault.
We're going to have to pull it out of him. Okay. So without further ado, please welcome the Vault of Nightmares. The Vault Keeper.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Keeper.
Very cool website, and I checked out YouTube channel. So like I said, I didn't get your bio, so maybe you can go ahead and introduce yourself and give a little short bio.
Well, I go by the Vault of Nightmares. If y'all listen to any of the other, I'm not coming in too loud, am I?
No, you're perfect.
Perfect.
All right. If you go listen to any of the other Bigfoot stuff, you've probably heard me around on Dark Waters.
Yeah.
Sean, Chasing the Truth. A couple of others that I won't name, but hold on, it's not out of my mic.
Yeah, I know Dark Waters. I met actually I was on Sean's his show Chasing the Truth, and that's how I hooked up with Joe, the owner of the station. So that's how I hooked up.
Well, if you want to know my background, I'm ex-law enforcement. I've been sheriff's deputy. I've been a police officer, worked for Border Patrol. I've worked for the Department of Interior. I've worked for the Department of Defense. I'm a retired PMC, if any of y'all know what that is.
No, you're going to have to tell me what it is.
Private military contractor.
Oh, cool.
That's
Interesting.
Any of y'all ever heard of a group called Blackwater International?
Yep.
I worked for Blackwater for almost 20 years.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Been to some of apparently y'all's favorite places. Area 51, SR4, a couple of others that I can't name.
Well, let me know something. How did you get involved? I know our short conversation on the phone, you told me that you grew up in an area that there's been a lot of UFOs and Bigfoot sightings and cryptics.
Yes, I grew up actually around Bigfoot. I had my first Bigfoot encounter when I was about 14 or 15. Had not ever heard of Bigfoot, never fooled a Bigfoot. That was on my grandfather and my grandmother's place. I was there for the summer and wound up staying there because my dad was a career military man. And didn't have a whole lot of time for, being parent, because of stuff he was doing. And like I said, never had heard of it, never had food with it, because small rural community. I'm from Mississippi. When I say small, they had to pump sunshine in here. Well, me and my cousin, it was deer and hunting. How I can remember this is because we had just got out the week before for Christmas. So that's how I can remember this. It was the week before Christmas when I was not sure the year. Like I said, I was 14 or 15. I can't remember exactly. It was somewhere in there. But my cousin was younger than me. And back then, especially rural Mississippi, every boy that pretty much hunts. And I was a big time hunter. My grandfather's Native American. My grandmother is, she's coon ass. We grew up on a very, very large farm. I still own that farm today.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's in Mississippi.
Yes, that's one of my properties. I own many properties around. I own a property in Taylor, Mississippi. I own one in the one where my grandfather built. It's actually deemed because of who my grandfather was, and like I said, in the community with the Choctaw tribe and the Blackfoot tribe. It's actually part of it is deemed for tribal use. So like I said, it's mine. It belongs to me. It's several hundred acres.
Wow.
And I was down in this area, me and my cousin. There was a certain area on the farm nobody was allowed to go to. You just didn't go there. And it was like, I think it was like 250 acres. You just didn't go there. My grandfather was a no nonsense. If he said something, you didn't ask questions. That's just the kind of person he was. Well,
yeah, it's pretty old school.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I remember saying what to my grandmother one time, and I got up on the other side of the room. Yeah. My grandfather's grandfather was one of the original wind talkers.
Oh.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Like I said, military ran for a long time, real deep in our family, and my grandfather kind of had his standoffish because of what happened with like his grandfather, his brother, his uncles, and stuff like that were wind talkers. Because most people don't understand that whole scenario. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump from what I was talking about to that, but that goes to the mindset of my grandfather. A wind talker was what the military was using back then during World War II and stuff for their communications, cryptic communications, where they spoke in several different native languages when they were communicating. Well, a wind talker had what was called a counterpart. The only job the counterpart had was if the wind talker was ever about to be captured or they thought they were being overran, they were to kill the wind talker.
Oh.
That was the only job that person had. Well, like I said, several of the native community didn't like that because, like I said, they basically had a assigned assassin for them. And like I said, it made my dad and my grandfather didn't get along because my dad went and joined the Marine Corps. And because of that, my grandfather just wasn't having none of it. And they didn't talk for probably 40 years. But anyway, like I said, to get back to my first encounter with Bigfoot and how I got involved with it was, like I said, there was that one area on the farm you didn't go to. It was it is no man's land. Well, I'd been patterning this really, really big buck and figured out where it was coming from. Well, there was one section of woods that it was going in, but the only way I could get to it coming out to get a shot on it was I had to go in where I wasn't supposed to be. So the week before we got out for the holidays, it just turned rifle season. Oh no, it was bow season fixing to turn into rifle season the week we got out for Christmas break. So we set up a ladder stand, homemade ladder stand made out of drill stem pipe. It had 2 seats, but it wasn't like you see now. It had a seat where the first person that climbed up went to the top. The second person was basically sitting in between. Their head was in between the first person's knees. Well, my cousin I think he's 3 years younger than I am. He was using one of my guns because he didn't even have a gun at the time because he was so young to use. And like I said, I was teaching him, just like my grandfather taught me. I just got that year, earlier that year for my birthday, I just got my very first high-powered rifle, mine, 30-06. Nice scope, everything on it. Well, I was letting my cousin use my 12 gauge. And the way we deer hunt down here, it's called combat loading. You put a buckshot, slug. It's called a combat load. That way you can shoot long range or short range. You just got to remember what you put in first. Well,
be good for intruders.
I got something way better than that. But we're told my cousin, like I said, we went in there, set the stand up the week before. Well, Monday came, we got out that Friday. Friday rolled around, Saturday rolled around, Sunday come around, finally Monday come around. Now, anybody that hunts, like I said, this deer was spooky. I'm talking about it would hardly ever come out during daylight shooting hours, nothing else. So we had to get in there about 2 hours before daylight got there to make sure we didn't leave any scent, no noise or nothing else. And the wind had to be blowing just right, where the wind had to be coming out of that bottom into your face. And just so happened that Monday morning, it was just right. So we get up and get out there, and we're out there like 4:30 in the morning. It doesn't get daylight till almost 6:30, 7 o'clock. But I wanted to make sure we were there before we had plenty of time. Well, we're sitting there, and it's starting to get daylight. And like I said, we've been sitting there for a while, and it's cold. I'm talking about it's cold. For Mississippi, it's like almost 27 degrees that morning or something like that. It was cold.
Oh, that's not cold.
Oh, that is for here. But Mississippi, Mississippi's like, Mississippi's like this. If you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes, it'll change. We're sitting there though, and like I said, it's just now starting to get where you can barely make out different shadows and stuff like that. Now, like I said, we had I had my rifle. My rifle had a scope on it. I only had one pair of binoculars then because I didn't really need it. So I'm letting my cousin use my binoculars, and we're sitting there, and the first thing I remember was the smell. It was anybody's ever smelled a buck and rut will tell you they stink. I'm talking about just bad. But that's the first thing I thought of. Oh man, this sucker right here is in full rut. As bad as the smell. I said, it's close. It's close. Now we're looking down. We're in a little hardwood. There's hardwood we're in. There's a little open area, probably about 50 yards, and then it's pine trees. Probably, I don't know, probably they were at that time, they were probably 8 foot, 9 foot tall. Like I said, it was just pine trees right there, just a thicket of pine trees. And I'm talking about just a wall that you can't see through. That's where that deer had been going to in the daytime. He'd go up in there and hide. Or at least that's what I thought was going on. Well, we're sitting there and it's starting to get a little bit more daylight. And I told my cousin, I said, you smell it? He said, yeah, man, that stinks. I said, that's that deer. I said, it's in full rut. I said, it's close. Well, we're sitting there a little bit more and we're sitting there and I'm like, as bad as it smells, this thing ought to be just right there ready to come out. And I'm looking through my scope and everything, and all of a sudden I noticed a couple of treetops kind of wave back and forth.
Okay.
And I'm like, it didn't dawn. I was like, damn it. When deer rut, they do what's called scraping and scrubbing. They'll take the horns and rub back and forth on trees.
Yeah, they did on the trees. Yeah.
Well, that's what I thought was going on. I'm like, dang, yeah, he's right there in just a few trees back. He's rubbing the snot out of them trees. Well, the tree stopped moving. I'm like,
jeez.
And I'm like, okay, he should step out any minute now. Now it's done got where you can make out, it's not daylight, but you can make out really good shapes and stuff like that, especially looking through a scope or binoculars. And I'm looking, I'm scanning, I'm looking for hair. I'm looking for a sign of a deer. Well, all of a sudden I'm sweeping through the edge of the tree line, and all of a sudden I come across hair. Brown, shaggy looking hair. And I'm like, there it is. And then all of a sudden it hit me. That's too damn big, because the hair is probably 5 feet off the ground where I'm seeing it. That's way too big for a deer.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there thinking, what is it raised up or what is it doing? And then I seen a movement. The problem was it didn't look like no deer moving. It looked like an arm. The only problem was this arm was as big as my leg.
Now, at this point, were you afraid, or did you think it was something like a cryptid creature like Bigfoot, or
Nope.
did you think it was still a deer?
No, I didn't. Like I said, never had thought about Bigfoot. Never
thought, and it never crossed your mind.
No, and see down here, they didn't call them Bigfoot, especially
Dogmen. What would you call them?
No, they call them boogers.
Boogers.
Okay. That's a new
Let
name.
me get a rag. I got some
A cat
boogers.
that has boogers.
Yeah,
Hey, Mr. Keeper, let me ask you a question.
yes, sir.
Whenever you were going through this scenario with the hunting, was there a lot of UFO activity happening at the time?
No, sir.
None at all.
No, sir.
Okay.
Never. If there was, I didn't pay attention to it. I'm talking about it wasn't nothing I was.
Well, the reason why I'm saying that, a lot of people, and I believe myself, that Bigfoot and UFOs they work together. They come from another dimension into ours, and then when they get spotted, then they get that.
I don't know how to tell you this other than they're flesh and blood, because they do bleed.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
You think he was? Oh,
Go ahead, Jace.
no, I was just gonna ask. Do you think he was scratching his back on that tree?
Probably.
You can't reach it.
What it was doing was it figure it out. All right. It's like this is what I tell people. All right. If I go in your living room and I move your chair, you know that somebody's done moved your chair. If I go in your living room, put a new table in there, you know someone's been in there and put something in there that wasn't there before. We had put that stand in there. It was out of place. Well, it probably smelled us way before we ever knew it was even there, because these things can smell incredibly. Most people think pigs are the best smellers there are out there, but no, these things can smell you way better than you ever thought about. Well, we're sitting there, and like I said, and I see an arm. First thing that pops in my head is, this is how long this has been. The Return of the Jedi had just came to theaters. That gives you an idea of the year and stuff like that. You can go look that up, because we had just seen the Return of the Jedi just a couple weeks before that. I'm thinking, who in the hell is out here? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean, I know you were on radio.
That's okay.
You're good. You're good.
But that was now you'll learn with me. I have no filters.
Either does Jason.
Well, that's the first thing that popped in my head is, who the hell would be out here in a damn Chewbacca outfit? That's just stupid. And then it kind of moved forward a little bit. And I don't know if any of y'all ever watched wrestling or anything like that, but that was one of the things that was big with kids. I'm thinking, this dude's as big as Andre the Giant.
He laid the smackdown.
Just this stuff's running through my head, and I'm like, wait a minute, I don't know anybody around here that big. And then I get to looking a lot better through the scope, and I'm looking at his face. This ain't a costume. What the hell is this? And it keeps it keeps like, it looks like it's grinning, and it's throwing its head back and sniffing. And I'm like, what in the hell? Well, I told my cousin, I'm whispering in his ear because I'm leaned over. He's got his gun now. He's right-handed. I told him, I said, change hands. Put the gun in your other hand. That way he can swing around and point at this better. Well, he moves, and as he moves, he bangs the barrel against that metal deer stand. And as soon as he did that thing, I'm looking now at it, and I can, this is how big it is. We're probably 75 yards away, and I can see its face. I can see his eyeballs. His eyeballs look like they're the side, the big as the end of the side of a Coke can.
Jesus,
eyes,
Hawkeyes.
Oh yeah, his eyes just all of a sudden just kind of like lock on. That one little noise that locked on right where we were, and all of a sudden you can hear. And then this thing, we're pointed at it. Now, I have no idea why he did this or nothing else. This thing lets out a scream that you can feel. It's like standing in front of a stage speaker and somebody playing as heavy as bass as they can. You can feel it. My cousin lets off a round.
Wow.
Whether he hit it, not hit it, have no idea. Now I'm back looking through a scope at it. This thing looks like it gets the most teed off look that you could ever have and starts making a beeline right for us. I
probably have the same reaction if someone was shooting at me.
Well, like I said, I have no idea if he hit it or not, because to be honest with you, I don't remember if it was a buckshot load at first or a slug. If it was buckshot, it never reached it. If it was a slug, he didn't act like he was hit the first time. When it took off running, all I could see, because I didn't have my scope turned up, these things can move incredibly fast. That's the other thing that, like I said, I didn't pick that up until way later. I said it was probably 75 yards away from us. It closed that distance between 75 yards. By the time it got to 50 yards is when I pulled the trigger the first time.
Wow.
Where I hit it, I don't know. All I could see was brown in the scope then. But I know I hit it because it let out an even worse yell and then picked up more speed. And I was able to hit it one more time. And then as it come by us, it swatted its arms up. And he was able to reach. My cousin's feet were 16 feet up in the air. That's where the bottom of his feet is. It swatted right under it. It broke drill stem pipe like they were toothpicks. Well, with a ladder stand, when you knock the legs off from under it, the rest of it comes to the ground.
Did you guys lock eyes at all?
Oh yeah,
And-
right before he pulled the trigger, like I said, I'm looking through a scope at it. There's no doubt that, like I said, this is not a man in a suit. This ain't supposed to be here. There ain't nothing I've ever seen, heard, been. I've been all over them woods. That ain't supposed to be there.
Does it look like
you weren't supposed to be there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't supposed to be there. But like I said, as it come by us, it swatted its arms like it was trying to grab somebody. And when
so I'm while I'm listening to this, for some reason I just keep picturing the one scene in Predator where they all just unleash a herd of bullets and just start wiping trees down and then get like a shot on the Predator.
I think altogether there was 4 rounds shot at this creature. I know 2 rounds impacted. I know that for a fact because you can see. All right, when you hit an animal with a large, high caliber round, you'll see it looks like, some people will say it looks like dust flew off of them. It's not dust. What that is blood splatter. That's blood spray, fine blood spray. It looks like a cloud almost. You can see that. I can see that in the scope.
And at this point, you weren't fearful at all?
No, you'll learn later why.
Okay.
Oh.
I ain't your normal bear. Like I said, as it come by, hit that stand, it broke it. We all come to me, my cousin, everything up there comes to the ground. Now it's going past us, kind of like to the right. We hit the ground. The wind kind of got knocked out of us. We rolled, left every freaking thing there, and hauled ass back to the house.
I would.
I'm talking about everything, guns, everything. Nobody didn't even think about it. We hauled button. My cousin now is like Forrest Gump on crack rock. There is no catching him. He's gone. We get back to the house because we're probably a quarter of a mile from the house through the woods. We book back. Where this thing is chasing us, don't know. All we know is we need to get back to the house.
Quarter mile, I'd have been down, but like, just take me. I'm out of breath.
Yeah, me too. I know when the zombie apocalypse comes, I'm done.
You're the first to go.
I'm the first to go.
Map, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll knock you down.
Getting a Negan bat.
Look, you don't have to be the fastest. You just have to be faster than the person in front of you.
Yeah, dude, you don't know me, man. I'm like a snail.
You're so if you were any slurred, be going backwards.
Seriously.
Well, my cousin, we get back to the house. My cousin beats me inside. He breaks in, and my grandmother is in the kitchen, preparing different stuff. She was always cooking something, or canning something, or something. He busts through the door, and he's going 900 miles an hour. We called my grandmother Mama. Mama, there's a big hairy monster out there in the woods and everything. And then I come in. Well, he's making such a commotion. My grandfather's drinking coffee and smoking on the front porch. He comes in. There's what? And he starts telling him what it. And my grandfather now is looking dead at me. And he's listening to my cousin. He goes, "Where were y'all at?" And he said, "I'm not going to ask you again." My grandfather, I thought my name was Boy with my grandfather until I was probably 17 years old. He goes, "Boy, where y'all at? I'm not going to ask again." I said, "We were down there on the left side of the garden patch." He said, "Where?" I said, "Down there on the left side of the garden patch." You know you ain't supposed to. All of a sudden, my grandfather just takes off out of the house. "Y'all stay in here now."
He must have seen it before.
Well, I ain't got to, yeah. Well, my cousin won't stop crying. He won't stop acting crazy. So my grandmother has to call his mama, which is her youngest daughter, to come get him. Well, I don't have anybody to come get me. I'm there. So that evening, that was a long evening because my grandfather, I don't know where he went, whatever. He told us to stay inside. We stayed inside until his mama came, got him, and they left. Well, I'm still there. That evening, that was a long supper because he didn't say a word. He just kept looking. Well, the rest of that week went on. That Christmas went on, and now I hadn't been back in the woods at this time. Christmas went by. New Year's, the day after New Year's, my grandfather walks in there, and at 4:30 in the morning, we're up doing chores and stuff. That's just like I said. That's rural life. He walks in there as I'm getting dressed. He said, "Go down into the barn and saddle your horse and wait for me." So I go down there, put the saddle on my horse, and he's done brought his horse out, and she's standing there by the side of the stable, and you didn't touch his horse. That horse was crazy mean. The only person could mess with that horse was him. That horse would bite you, do everything you can think of. That horse was a demon. Anyway, he walks up there and he's putting his the blanket on it, he's putting the saddle down, and he tells me to go over there in the privy over there where we keep the sweet feed and everything else. That he said there's a burlap bag there. Grab that burlap bag. I get the burlap bag, and as I turn around, he hands me his old rifle. Now, he had a 45-70 Sharps. Hands me that rifle and said, he said, I want you to remember one thing. You do not point that at nothing. You don't ratchet around. Now, this is a lever action gun. You don't ratchet around in the gun. You don't do nothing unless I tell you to. Okay. I said, what are we? He said, you're going to take me to where y'all were. I did not like this idea. I told him, I said, look, Papa, we need to go get a couple more guns, a couple more people. I said, that thing is probably still down there, and we made it mad. I really don't think. He said, just shut up and get on your horse. Shut up and got on my horse. He picks up that little burlap sack. It's a 10-pound burlap sack. What was in it? I have no idea to this day. I wasn't stupid enough to ask. He gets on his horse and he puts that sack down there and kind of ties it off with a little piece of rope to his saddle horn. We go off back down in there. We get there. What's left of the deer stand has been just mauled. It's done been, there's trees broke down everywhere. We found the shotgun had looked like somebody tried to make a horseshoe out of it. My gun, the rifle, was broken half. It was a Remington 700, broken half.
You still have these?
Do I still have them?
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't. No, I don't have them. That, like I said, that happened way back there. I was a little vault then, but
it was before my time, so don't worry.
Yeah. I said, we go down there and we're gathering. He tells me to start gathering everything up, and he hands me one of the ropes off the side of his horse. I'm tying the stuff up. I have no idea why we're doing this. Well, he walks over to the base of that tree where that stand was and sets that sack down, looks at me and tells me, don't ever come down here again. I don't care what you hear. I don't care what's going on. Never come here again. We tied all that stuff up. We tied it tied one end of the rope to the saddle horn. And as we're going back out, that thing's making all kind of noise, clang. I don't like this because I'm thinking like we're ringing the dinner bell. We leave. As we get back to the barn, I start asking questions, and I said, "You don't question my grandfather." And he said, "Look," he said, "since you're going to be running around and it looks like you're going to be here for a while, there's some things you need to know to keep yourself safe." He said, "We have things out here in these woods that have been here way before we ever were here." He said, "At one time, the natives were friendly with them and traded with them. Then something happened, and basically they lost their way, and they didn't have anything to do with they don't want anything to do with man anymore of any kind." He said, "They're out here." He said,
how many do you think they are? I mean, how many would you say? Then this is your first encounter, or?
That was my first encounter. I own Booger Valley. That's what we call the home place.
I'm sorry about that, bro.
Hey, do you know how to make a tissue dance?
Oh. Oh.
Add a little boogie.
Well,
sorry, I just had to.
Okay, so that was your first encounter, and then you
Look.
guys.
Y'all need to go listen to my old channel. There's a story I put up that my grandfather shared with me way before I was ever born. This was like when before my dad was born. That place got its name from then. I didn't name it, they named it. These things were so bad. My grandfather's best friend they broke through the side of the barn, drug him out and killed him. They found bits and pieces.
Oh my God, that's awful.
There was enough animals that started coming up missing. These things were coming around people's houses trying to break through the floors. They set 497 acres on fire.
Oh,
Wow.
the creatures.
Do they know for sure that was Bigfoot, or was that like other extraterrestrials? Or
no, they ain't no extraterrestrial. If you want to see one, I'll carry you down there and let you look at one.
No, I was just trying to. There's different parts of the world and different parts of even the U.S. where they have been reported to not be violent, and then there's certain areas where they've been reported to act more aggressive.
Not every Bigfoot you come across, well, pretty much every Bigfoot is not going to be violent. 99% of the time, the human has done something that it shouldn't have done or didn't listen to whenever it didn't want it to do it. That's why they got a violent reaction.
And that was my second thing I was going to say. With any animal, I mean, even dogs, bears, anything, most of the time, coyotes, they're more afraid of humans than we are of them. And it's disturbing their territory that causes them to react that way.
The only other animal on this planet that will actually, animal-wise, that is science says does exist, will actively hunt humans if they come across them, is polar bears. If a polar bear comes across the scent of a human, it will track it down like a big piece of bacon.
And they did at one point, I think, tigers in certain parts of
if they're
villages.
if they're
were actually hunting for blood and not just not because they were hungry.
I think a lot of that had to do with what was going on in their environment, because they started wearing masks on the backside of their head, because usually most of the time a cat won't attack you while you're looking towards it. It will wait till you turn away from it and attack you. So they would wear a mask on the back of their heads there, so the cats couldn't tell which way they were looking, or at least that's the whole privy behind that. Where it worked all the time, I don't know. I wouldn't have been the one wanting to test that.
Do you think, like with this one that you encountered, when you said you didn't know why it let out that yell or noise, a lot of times that's another defense, even for humans. If you encounter an animal bigger than you or that you're afraid of, you're supposed to make a lot of noise or sound a lot bigger than you are. Do you think that's the case of why it did that, or do you think it was maybe calling for backup or something?
No,
like that?
It figured out we were there and it was trying to scare us off.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. But I've seen even on Yellowstone, there was a scene with one of the I think I forget her name. There's a woman screamed when she ran up to a wolf that was attacking a horse, and she screamed and made this weird noises, like it wasn't a normal scream. So maybe that's what they were doing. They were trying to, their way of scaring.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, they say that for like bears and stuff too. Try and make yourself look bigger. But if it's about to swat you, go into fetal position.
I'm going to tell you right now, the worst thing you can ever do is run.
Yeah.
If you run, you are now prey. Never turn your back on them. Never turn your back on any kind of animal like that. Now, I've been literally all around this little blue planet of ours several times. I've been in the jungle. I've been in the desert. I've been in several different places. I did 3 tours in Afghanistan, 4 in Bosnia.
Oh, that's a lot. Thanks for your service.
I've hunted every kind of animal on this earth, and man is not the most dangerous. These things are one of the most dangerous. But this thing everybody wants to call a dog man, that thing ain't natural. I never had, like I said, I've been around all over the planet. The only time I've ever come across anything like a werewolf or anything was over in Brussels, Germany. There's a whole town over there that they just left.
So you told me you have a camera.
Yeah, I have I have a camera out back of the house I'm in right now because we have these things in my backyard.
You have them in your backyard.
Yeah, they come up to the backyard.
Do you have any pictures?
How many do you have?
Well, right now we know of 2. I think there's 3 that comes out here. There's a live feed camera. That's what I was going to tell you. We have a project going on. It's the first time anybody's ever tried to do this. It's called Dogman Cams. It got named that. We're catching a lot of other things than just that. We've caught the blue will-o-wisp on this camera. This is a live feed camera that like I said, that you can access out back of my house 24 hours a day.
And how do you do that? Can we see him here now?
Hold on. A friend of mine was just saying something about that. There was a Bigfoot sighting in Mississippi last week. I'd have to look more into it, but
depends on what we're at. That's the other thing is, like I said, talking with these dog man, I can't share the way I'm in here now. I can't share it. But you can, if you want to see the camera, if y'all go over to YouTube, go to the Vault of Nightmares or go to Dark Waters channel.
Dark Water? Okay.
You can go to Dark
Going
Water.
Back to you know what you were talking about, certain times of year, and going back to what you originally asked earlier, Sean, about other sightings of UFOs and stuff around the same time. What happens on especially if you're like here in Kansas, we're on a certain parallel where you'll see heightened sightings of all kinds of cryptids during certain times of the year, during certain days, during certain moon phases, things like that. And it's because it's kind of a similar concept with October when the veil is thinner. I believe it's easier for interdimensional beings to travel during those times at certain points, geographical locations on the map.
What's that?
That was big.
All right, whose stomach is
That's
growling?
mine, guys.
You better go eat something or put your mic on mute.
Dude, I'm telling you what, man. You were talking about nightmares. I was going to say at the beginning, my stomach is one big nightmare tonight. So
just tonight.
I'm just telling.
Seriously, was that your stomach?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, sound effect on the.
You know what? Seriously, I'm just giving background music to this.
It was like Bigfoot was in the background.
Oh my god! Go get some Tums or something.
Look,
sorry about that, Mr. Keeper.
Hey, it's just
horrible.
Did you eat dinner, Sean? Jeez.
Okay, let's get back to business. Okay, so I'm on YouTube. I'm on Dark Waters. There's Dogman Encounter Roosevelt. Is that one of them?
No. That's no. Go to the Halloween special.
Halloween special. Okay.
These things actually.
Now, is this on your Vault of Nightmares or is this on Dark Waters?
That's Dark Waters. This is a camera project that, like I said, you can go. We're right now. That's the first camera we have up. We have, I know of 5 other.
Oh, Halloween Encounter.
Yeah, we're going to be putting up 5 more cameras. These are cell phone trap cameras.
Is there anywhere on there I should go? Because it's like 2 hours long.
That's where I went out there and built a fire to see what these things would do. Because
let me see if I can find anything.
This property I'm at now, I bought this property because of all the stuff that's happening around here. I bought this property dirt cheap. It'd been on the market for 2 years. I bought over 18 acres in a 3-bedroom house for less than $20,000.
I'm going to see if I can find something that's. Did you see any Bigfoots on this camera, on this film, on this video?
There's one we call One Eye Willie. For some reason, something's done took out one of its eyes.
I can actually. I'll be able to see it on here.
Well, you can see something standing about 12 feet off the ground with an eyeball of the size of a golf ball standing right there by me.
Okay, let's see if we can share some.
I'm glad I saged for this one, man.
Are you pagan?
I am.
So am I. As a matter of fact, I have my robes and stuff on during this because there are some kind of spirits out here. We have, matter of fact, on one, I have to send it to you that I'm not good, Miss Jeannie. I'll send it to you so you can share it with everybody. We caught what's called the blue wisp, the willow wisp. They've been seen out here several times floating through. It comes up out of the ground. It's a ball of energy. Probably a little bit bigger than a softball, and it's dancing around. It looks like it's trying to, it doesn't look like just a ball. You can see like the energy is like trying to rip apart the different little sprigs that's coming off of it. It dances out in front of the camera, kind of goes back in, then goes right back into the ground.
I have a bunch of videos of myself and my family throughout the past with where that shows up a lot of times.
Well, these supposedly, now I ain't never heard no good stories about the will-o-wisp. Supposedly around here, there's something bad with them. If you go follow, they try to get you to follow them through the woods. If you go follow them, you go mess with them, especially if you go follow them, usually that person is not ever seen again. Don't know what happens to you, whatever. So I'm not interested in figuring out what they are.
I think it depends on how you, that's almost with any cryptid, because a lot of them are very protective of the earth. So if you don't respect nature and you don't, if you aren't resourceful with things you take from the forest, if you litter, if you tear things up, of course, they're going to treat you in that manner, and probably you would never return. But no. I think for people who do have a respect for nature and things like that, they usually don't.
Have you ever done any research in the Four Corners area?
Where?
The Four Corners.
I don't know
Four
what that
corners.
is.
Oh, I know what he's talking
like
about. Yeah, the corners on the state. We're all the 4 states.
Yeah, it's the largest native. It's made up of. Well, they call it where the Four Corners got its original name from was the 4 native tribes that came together out there that makes what they call the Four Corners Nation.
Are you talking about the one in New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, and Utah?
Yes.
Is there? There's multiple Four Corners in the U.S.
Well, I'm talking about to me, that's what I think of. So actually, belong to the Four Corners Nations.
I was born and raised in New Mexico. So.
Okay, well, you know where I'm talking about then.
Absolutely.
Hold on, my stupid phone keeps going off. I'm thinking to throw it across the room.
While you're doing it, I'm going to share one of your videos. Okay,
that's no problem.
Just give me a second.
They've caught all different kind of stuff. Yeah, that's me sitting right there by the fire. That was Halloween night.
Okay, in the story, like I said, most people are used to a police dog or canine, however you want to say it. They're used to a person having to hold on to the harness or whatever. Bear didn't have to do that. He had a work harness on, and I had a 10-foot lead that if I needed to, I could hook to him. I could give him a command and do whatever he needed to do. Anyway, I let him out. One of the guys was like, "You're not going to hook up to him?" I said, "I don't need to. There's no need for me to hook to him, because if he needs to do something, I'm hooked to him. He can't. And then he's got a big old lead attached to him. If I let go of it, he would get tangled. So it's not feasible." That kind of worried one of them, because he kept looking at one of them like it was a chew toy. I don't know if he had some extracurricular activity smell on him that Bear was used to attributing to bad guys or what. But anyway, we get in.
Does Dogman come into the video
that they done brought up because it was big enough to carry 6 of us.
I don't think I have a Dogman on.
You have something circled on this one.
Wildlife fishing game.
I don't know where.
we go probably
If
3 or
it's
4
up,
miles
I
back
just
up
saw
the
it.
Pearl
I
River,
paused it over. I might have
towards
passed it
the
up.
Mississippi, away from the
I
Mississippi
think
River mouth,
one of
where
the
it joins it. We go
subscribers
up away from
circled
it.
something on that video. We're talking right now. I'm actually
All
that
right,
was
here
I
we
don't
go.
know.
There you
No, but
go.
I'm getting photos, and we definitely caught something big over there. That son of a bitch is big. I'm trying to get it up on the screen for everybody. That shit's crazy.
Yeah,
What's
see,
this
look at
over here? It looks like an eye. Big
Yeah,
gigantic
I'm
eye.
looking at
Looks
it.
like a tree.
That's that is a tree right there. That's like I said, that's all
See, this is
forest.
why I don't think this is dog man, y'all. This acts
No
more
wrong
like
with that.
curious ass damn squatch, but they're weird.
Yeah, the ones down, the
But
ones
it's
I got
weird
around this
looking.
place don't look
I've
like what
never
I'm
seen
used to
one
seeing Squatch
with
look
the
like.
facial features like this. But see, that's the thing. For them to be real, there's no way another boat would have been big enough to get back.
Do you
in
believe
there.
in the
They could have
chupacabra?
hit this boat.
Why can't I
do
see that?
this.
That's so.
Which
Oh,
one?
So that counts.
You talking about the
Did y'all
dog
hear the
one, or
growl?
you talking about?
Yeah,
Big
like the
growl.
dog like one.
Yeah, they don't call them
No, but I'm getting
chupacabras down there.
photos, and we definitely caught
They call
something
them the
big
gray
over
dog.
there. That son of a bitch is big. I'm trying to get it up on the screen. That shit's crazy.
Yeah,
What you just caught.
That is crazy.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
The one you need to go find. I wish I could send it to
Why
you. The-
can't-
This is why I don't
This is
think
strange. Why
dog
can't
man,
we see
y'all.
that?
This acts
See
more
what?
like
Why did it
curious
go to
ass
black?
Squatch, but they're weird.
that one right there probably
But
is.
it's
But you
weird
can
looking.
see it on the
I've never
previews. Like,
seen
look.
one
I
that
don't know.
looks the same.
You see?
Every
I
white
saw
man don't
that.
look the
That's what
same.
looked like an
Every
eye to
Asian
me.
man don't look the same. There's diversity,
Oh.
and that's what you would expect to find in a population. Size diversity.
So what are we looking at here?
I guess like the
I
center
can hear
photo.
something moving, but now I can't
I
tell.
didn't see
Echoing. I
that.
can't tell which direction.
What?
That one's just swaying.
See,
That
that,
right
looks
there
more like one of the forest spirits
Yeah.
to me.
Well, if it is, it's really damn big.
Well, they're huge. They can be bigger than the trees. So
$1
We
in
went from the
funding.
woods to the office. What happened?
well, they run me.
Oh,
That, like I said, that's right out back of this house right here. That's my
You
backyard.
can
My
hear it like
backyard's
it's
bigger than most
artillery
people's.
resembling a dog, but right at the end of it, it's like a whoop.
Can I ask how many acres y'all got?
Well, I've got 3
You can hear
acres
it go,
that are
"Ah,
cut
ooh,
back away from the
ah,
house,
ooh."
and then
Not making
I've got 18 more acres around that. If you right where I'm sitting at, straight back behind that fire,
Dad
if
thinks
you
this is a
go
dog,
about
but where the,
5,
that's that scraggly ass dog. Yeah. That's that scraggly ass
Oh, I got a
dog.
message that the Bigfoot sighting last week was in
Lakeisha
Vicksburg,
says she can hear
Mississippi.
something and
Vicksburg. Yes,
if that
sir.
is a
That's
dog, that's
90
just a
miles
scraggly,
from me.
bony dog. And
Oh,
if
nice.
anybody's been watching,
Uh,
it showed up here. I don't know where the hell that damn thing came from, but it ain't supposed to be here.
But if you go straight back from that fire, you got to go about 5 miles, and you hit a slough and a creek that joins up to the Big Black River that joins into the Mississippi River.
Okay.
There's nothing. My closest neighbor is about a mile away from me.
Oh, that's got to be nice.
Oh, dude, I like the woods. I feel way more comfortable out in the woods than I do around people.
Absolutely, I agree
Yeah.
with that.
But
I mean, besides deer, what other type of animals y'all got down there?
what do you mean by that? Are you talking about what science say that are here, or
No, not science. I'm talking regular animals.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Are you talking regular? Are you talking about like deer?
Yeah, like deer. What else?
The biggest animal that is supposed to be here, according to science and the wildlife, fishing, and game, is a deer. The biggest predator is going to be a coyote. We don't have any bear. Our bobcats are about the size of a beagle. Now, I've got a friend that doesn't live far from here that actually caught a black panther on one of his trail cams. It's about the size of we're talking about a cat that's about the size of a German Shepherd, with a tail is full length as him and about a little bit bigger than a Coke bottle. And how we know how big it was standing under his deer feeder. So we knew how far it was, and we had something to judge for height. Like I said, that it doesn't supposedly exist, but there's a picture of it. It was enough stir about that Wildlife, Fishery, and Game spent almost 4 days on his property looking around for it that didn't exist, according to them.
So have
Now,
they
you
looked
know
for
what?
the
That's
dog man or anything?
possible. That's possible. It could have been a cryptid that he caught. If they can't spot it for 4 days looking for it, and
Well,
they can't.
we tracked it. Now, see, that's one of the things that's in my forte. I'm a forward recon scout.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things we were trained is tracking. We're trained to what's called ghost through the woods. When I move through an area, if I don't want you to know I'm there, you're not going to know I'm there.
But the forest will.
Nice bucket, Sean.
Thanks. That's a good bucket.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I just drank some iced tea.
he had a
God
bucket
Almighty,
for,
man!
Now, there's some people that believe that Bigfoot and these dogmen are a whole different thing. I don't think there's nothing natural about them. We call them the crypto terrorism, the terrorist of the crypto community, because
Are there like groups of hunters that go looking for them, or is it just like kind of wait and see if they show up?
No, around here most people leave them the hell alone.
So there is a cryptid. I don't know if you all have heard of the Leshy. It's more, I think, Slavic origin, but everywhere it has ever been reported in the world, it's a giant forest spirit, basically, that looks like a big man, almost in a, what do they call those suits in the military? Ghillie suit, where you camouflage with the forest. And so what that cryptid does is protects the forest and all of the creatures in the forest. So I have noticed a huge correlation between hunters. Now, granted, it might be that hunters are out in the forest more than, possibly your average person during that time of year. But do you think that these people encounter these things? Because if you're trying to kill, a deer, which is a sacred animal across many cultures and as well as cryptids, I'm sure, if they're trying to protect the forest and its animals, do you think that's why a lot of hunters encounter these things? And do you think that it could be that sometimes instead of Bigfoot?
I'm sorry. I thought y'all heard me. I said, hold on just a second. I had to go let one of my dogs up. I apologize.
I missed that.
What kind of dogs do you have?
I've got one that is part my oldest son's dog. One of his dogs is part American Pit, and I forgot what the other part of the dog is, but it's American Pit. She's crazy as day, as long her. She's named after the Joker's girlfriend. And then we have my son's girlfriend, my soon-to-be daughter-in-law. She has a blue heeler lab mix. I have a toy. My dog, my best friend, died back this last year.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, that was actually he was my partner. He was an Eisenberger. I sent I think it was Miss Jenny, the one I talked to on the phone earlier.
What was it Wise? Is that you?
No.
So
I talked to one of the females on the phone. Now I tell y'all right now, I am terrible with
You talked to me on the phone.
Yeah,
okay. Well, if you go look at your text message, I sent a picture of me and Bear.
You
Bear
did?
So with all the dogs you have, and when you let them out or anything, do they ever like catch scent of Dogman or Bigfoot and like take off, and you have to go find them? So that no.
They usually, if something's out there, like Dart was doing a live stream, the camera system I was telling y'all about, like I said, it's actually paid. It's something we're doing. And the reason why like I said, it's paid for is because, like I said, it costs to put these cameras out. It costs to maintain them and stuff like that. It's $5.99 a month. And right now, like I said, we have 5 more fixing to go up. We have the LBL and a couple other places that I'm fixing to go put these cameras up at. But he was actually in the middle of doing a live stream and was showing people the camera and stuff. And I had just got off the phone with him, and we were going to actually play a thing of Call of Duty later. So I went in and started cooking steaks. And we have a big griddle, big Viking oven, and it has a big vent hood. Well, I started cooking the steaks, and my wife goes, "You got to turn the vent hood on. That smoke is killing me." So I reached up, turned the vent hood on. Now my head's under this vent hood with a big fan whirling and stuff. And all of a sudden I hear something. I turned and looked at her and said, "Was that a siren?" And she turns around from the sink, and she's got a potato in her hand because she's washing potatoes for baked potatoes. And she goes, "I don't think so." And all of a sudden it does it again. While he's on live streaming these things, have you ever heard what's called the Sierra sounds?
No.
Think of a bear and a woman that are getting murdered both at the same time.
Oh, that should be interesting.
Oh yeah, that went off outside my house.
Oh my God.
Did you run towards it?
Actually, yes, I did.
Did you find it?
No, because my wife and Dark them didn't want me to go out because, like I said, that's the thing about me. I don't, that little thing most people are born with that makes you scared of stuff. It also has to do with giving you empathy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, I was actually, yep, that's Bear.
Beautiful. He's big.
Oh yeah. In his prime, he weighed almost 200 pounds and he was not fat.
Holy moly. Looks fluffy. He looks really fluffy.
Well, I've seen him pick an 80-pound Rottweiler up in the center of his back, shake him, and break his back.
Dang.
That was my partner.
Silence.
Huh? Well,
You make him bigger. Can't.
I heard somebody. What was that? Something about violence or something?
Trish.
Trish.
Oh, I said so much violence. All the
Well, I was border patrol.
I'm an empath, so as far as I'm not against hunting.
To understand the reason why I say that is not like I'd sick bear own a dog for no reason. I was part of border patrol. I was part of the anti-cartel task force for almost 9 years. These are people that, for fun, if they want your house, they send people like MS-13 in with machetes, and then they make you pick who in your family gets killed
Jesus.
first.
Oh, my.
And then hack you up in front of them. Well, they have these dogs like Rottweilers. They feed them crack, cocaine, stuff like that, and they're just there is no controlling them no more. And they feed them gunpowder, you name it, just to make them crazed, and they would let them out on law enforcement as they come up. That's what Bear's job was. He was to take out anything like that so we could deal with other things. That dog right there has saved my life. I was shot and down. That dog grabbed me, pulled me back.
That's a good dog.
Yeah. My dogs would just stare at me and take off, run the other direction.
That's what I'm talking about. Like I said, that was my partner. When I said, anybody that wants to go to a war zone, go down to your local border. Go down to Mexico.
Oh, yeah. Right now.
That's not exactly local for me, but
me neither.
Let's put it this way. I got shot at more down there than I did overseas.
Wow. That's crazy. God, and you know what? Thank you for your service, man.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Like I said, that's when I say, no, I don't typically run away from things. And like I said, I was born without that thing. Unfortunately, it's supposed to make you scared and empathy.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it made what I did for a living really easy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put it this way. He did. I know you. I understand, Miss Trish. You don't like violence. I'm not trying to.
I get the military side. I mean, my ex-husband was in the military, and I have a lot of family.
What branch? What branch?
Marines and Army.
Okay. Did he serve overseas?
Yes, many times.
Did he ever talk about a certain group? It was made up of Army, Marines, a couple of Navy guys every once in a while, and then PMCs. They called them Reapers, that went around to different villages clearing houses out.
Yep.
I'm a Reaper.
Nice.
Oh, well, I was in the Navy. All right. I was a cook in the Navy.
Yeah,
I was in the Girl Scouts.
I was on the USS Independence.
hey, I like them cookies now. I like them. But like I said, it's not that and see, that's the other thing. When I go out squatching, yes, I carry weapons and stuff, but it's not for the squatch. It's for the people that you more than likely will run into. I've run
Well, I have a question.
up into illegal growth fields. Go ahead.
You've seen him many times. Did you get any evidence, like on a picture?
No, at the time, I didn't actually start researching what y'all call, or most people call researching, till a couple years ago. I didn't. Okay. I didn't go in most of the time. Whenever I had encounters, it was either on my own property, or if I got called out, because there's certain lists. All right, let's say one of y'all go missing in a certain area. I'm not going to say that certain area, that you go missing, and they find circumstances that they think that foul play was involved.
Okay.
Well, there's a list of people that get put on, that get called to go help find the rest of you. And I used to be on a couple of these lists, and I went in and tracked stuff down, and there's one encounter in Taylor, Mississippi that you can go look up. It's supposedly what's funny is on that one particular story is the way it started out was they thought the husband had done something to the wife. The only problem was that part of the husband's arm was laying inside the house.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
And what caused all this is we had some people come into that happened in Taylor, Mississippi. Some people came into the area looking for squatch, looking for cryptids, whatever. They started call blasting down this valley. Well, they left. The calls that they were sending out, we don't know enough about this to understand what these calls mean. You could be calling them to dinner. You could be picking a fight with them. You could be telling them you're lonely and wanting some loving. We don't know enough about these calls, because I don't do calls when I go out. I don't do wood knocks. I don't do none of that crap.
So if you had more actual like firsthand experience with finding Bigfoot since '83, roughly.
Yeah.
Like how many encounters would you say you've had like in that duration of time?
I've probably had over 1,000 encounters.
Oh, that's a lot.
If not more. Like I said, I can go out to Booger Valley, and if you go into the wrong area, they're going to let you know they're there. And if you don't stop doing what you're doing and slowly back out, you got two choices. You can stay there and be there permanently, or they will escort you out. You got to understand, and see, that's what I tell people. You're dealing with something that can take a grizzly bear and spin its head around like a dish rag and then hang it in a tree.
So none of these sightings, the 1,000 sightings you saw, no, they haven't hurt anybody?
Yeah, a couple of them. That's the one I was just talking about in Taylor. They killed a woman and man because they happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time and stuck their heads up in trees.
No, is this any of these on the news, or do they just keep it quiet?
That's the one I was talking about. Like I said, they changed the story of what happened to these people like 3 times.
Okay. So
Then
they don't want no one to know that there's a big
just go look up couple that were killed in Taylor, a strange couple that was killed in Taylor, Mississippi, or it's listed something like that. I think that happened 2 years ago. There's a case that I went out and helped try to find the bodies. They still haven't found the bodies of 2 missing duck hunters that happened last year. 2 young guys. I think one was 18 and one was 19. What
was the town of this?
Taylor, Mississippi. If you type in Taylor and Dogman,
Gradually killed in their No, that's not it.
So have you ever like pushed the limit per se? Because you're saying like if they let you know you're there, they either snap your neck or walk you out. Have you ever like tried to push the limit to see how far you could get to get a better look or a photograph of them?
Yeah, not too long ago out here behind the house, and I've kind of like backed off, let them alone for the last 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks now, since Halloween, because they actually tried to herd me and I'm armed. And like I said, lots of people don't understand what most people carry in the woods, what most people hunt with this stuff are not going to do nothing but tee them off. You might actually wound it bad enough that it will go off later on and die, but it's going to probably kill you if you shoot it.
So essentially, with shooting it with slugs, that would literally put a giant hole through, a regular animal would not do that to Bigfoot.
Well, a slug, a 12 gauge slug, and not in the right spot on a bear won't stop a bear.
Right, but it wouldn't go, it wouldn't go through and out the other side. Like, you see somebody shoots a deer.
I don't know.
Hole.
At what they call the Siege of Hanabi, 12 gauge shotguns, what was supposedly used to kill one of that, wound it bad enough that it ran off the porch and they could hear it dying. So, like I said, it's Dogman. I wouldn't suggest you shoot at it, period. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, a 5.56 won't penetrate it, a AK-47 won't penetrate it, and a damn 9mm. I was closer to watch the rounds impact, mushroom, and slide off of it. The only thing what finally stopped it was a 338 Lapua Special.
So you're saying you saw the bullets hit the Dogman and then just mushroom off of it. Like,
yeah,
you've seen it firsthand.
Yeah, I got into a firefight with one.
And then it was killed with
It wasn't killed. That's the thing I'm telling you. It wasn't killed. It was hit 3 times with a 338 Lapua, and it still was able to get into the Tom Bigby waterway and get away. We have no idea if it drowned, if it got away and then later died, or if it just sank. We don't know, because 5 different law enforcement entities showed up and were arguing over exactly what charge and who was going to arrest us.
Oh.
I don't know, but this makes me really thirsty. I just want to say thanks to our sponsor, Carnation Essentials Light Start, or any Carnation instant drink, milk. It's that season again.
Coffee creamer.
Yeah, definitely.
I stick to coffee.
But thank you for sponsoring the second hour of our show, Carnation. I don't know why that doesn't show up.
Yes,
I do not have a green screen, so why doesn't it show up?
That's a little strange.
That is weird.
I know. But thanks, Carnation, for sponsoring the second hour of Chasing Prophecy.
Miss Trish, I take it that you think that Bigfoot and Dogman are more spiritual, or because I heard you say something about portals and stuff like that a while ago.
Oh, no. When Sean originally asked if during these times of Bigfoot sightings, if there were also correlations of UFO sightings and things like that.
Oh, okay.
And I was saying many times with UFOs and when people see mini cryptids all around the same time, there's a reason it's during that same time frame when different planets align, or days of the month, or on certain parallels, geographical locations of the map.
Okay.
Why they all happen at the same time. But I was reading about I don't know how to pronounce this, Chautauqua monster, Mississippi's Bigfoot, a legend of an old, circus, giant circus ape that the train wrecked or something, and it got loose.
That's one of those urban myths that's supposedly happening in just about every little town through Mississippi.
Well, but that's when I was looking up the Taylor, Mississippi case. This one was the only one that said, that he had to be kept in a large cage and he killed people, and was, once the train wrecked, he was never seen again, released in the swamps of Mississippi. So that was an interesting one. I just came across from the end of October, that surfaced again. So
I got one better for you to look up. All right. You're all adults and everything, and y'all know how hard it is to get Congress, the Senate, and the president all to agree on something long enough to make a federal law, right? Go look up the hominid law. There is a federal law that states If you harm, molest, kill, or otherwise injure anything that is hominid related other than a human, they can come in, seize all your research. They can seize the body. They can seize anything that you have pertaining to that. Then they can lock you away for up to 10 years and fine you $250,000.
Jeez.
Now, this is what I tell people.
Is that in the U.S.?
Yes, that's in the U.S.
I mean, I saw the one in New Zealand.
No, there's one in the U.S. There's actually a state, and I can't remember which one it is off the top of my head, that actually the state then come in behind that and put a state law up. Just shining a flashlight. If they catch you shining a flashlight, they can actually lock you up, put you in the pen for
That's
a felony.
crazy.
I mean, I kind of agree. Like, I can see where they're coming from, because that's kind of like, exotic animals or animals that are on the verge of extinction. If it's something that it's the same concept.
Well, see, but this is the thing that when people start making fun or whatever, Bigfoot's not okay. Well, then why did the federal government spend so much time research and development on a law for an animal that doesn't exist?
Doesn't make sense.
Exactly. But I know by seeing some stuff that during Mount St. Helen, supposedly several of these creatures were gathered after Mount St. Helens. Several of them had to be put down because they were so injured they couldn't survive. Several of them were killed during the blast. It's not like it's kind of like the UFO phenomenon. It's just now the military has said, okay, yes, military, we know there's flying saucers and there's aliens. They've known that for freaking years. If y'all had only, a lot of people have only heard about some of the crazy craft and stuff like that, and the lights that fly around like Area 51 and Los Alamos and all that stuff. Go back and look from the 70s to the 80s. Everything kind of stayed the same. And then all of a sudden in about the mid 80s up to now, we keep making technological jumps so fast. Why? Because we had help.
We've always had help.
Well, kind of, sort of, but not. But let's put it this way. There's a lot of stuff that anything that you think that is modern right now is 10 to 15 years behind what the military has.
I've heard that before.
So what do you think why are they hiding it, or why are they so involved in it? Why don't they just come out and say it?
The first thing the military does with anything is figure out what kind of weapon they can make out of it.
Oh, okay, yeah. What can they do with something like Bigfoot?
Have everybody run around and caution and then just start sniping people out.
I think more people would hunt something like that. Like I was saying with exotic animals, obviously we can't have nice things. We're humans. We suck. So last white rhino was killed, our children aren't going to be able to see that in a zoo or anywhere else on earth when they grow up. So I think, when we come across something that is, they're even discovering new animals in the ocean and jungles and things like that all the time that we don't necessarily hear about, because what would we do? We would kill it. We would destroy it. Humans destroy beautiful things. So
exactly.
Well, not like I said, the first thing that the military does is figure out a way to weaponize it. Look at how many animals that are known to science that have been weaponized.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they had something to do with their creation too. You never know.
I believe them to be some kind of ape because they act too much like apes. A lot of the ways I do my research is Jane Goodall's approach. I've read just about everything she's put out. I've watched all the documentaries. If it wasn't for Jane Goodall, there's a lot of species that we wouldn't know about today. And we wouldn't know as much as we do. Jane Goodall was the very first person to be able to what's called indoctrinate herself into a silverback gorilla clan. Like I said, a lot of the stuff she does, I've used in my research, and I've used it to save my own bacon when I got myself in. I'm the best person to get myself in stupid situations. Like getting in the middle of, I thought I was following a human, and because I was tracking, I thought it was a poacher. but it was through a marshy area, so it's not like it's leaving like boot prints. It just looks like footprints. And it turned out to be a juvenile freaking Bigfoot. And I found that out the hard way because they surrounded me. And I just started talking. Whether they understand us or not, I have no idea. This made me feel better. Yes, I had weapons on me. Not once did I ever think about trying to grab one of these weapons because it would have done no good. I was able to back myself out of there talking. And like I said, and all I told it was, I'm sorry. I didn't mean any harm. I thought it was a human doing something they wasn't supposed to. I wasn't trying to bother your young or nothing else. And I started backing up. And then they let me know they wasn't happy with me by sending a log swinging over my head. It sounded like a helicopter. It was about 8 inches around, about 10 foot long.
Oh.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Getting back to the government and these creatures, there's a lot of talk lately, a lot of chatter that the government has created hybrids. Do you think maybe some of these creatures could be hybrids of some sort of?
Funny you brought that up because I just pulled up on congress.gov when I was looking for the hominid. There was a human animal hybrid prohibition act of 2009 that was passed.
Yep. And see, it's been a while back. I get a lot of crazy emails and stuff like that, especially in being in the Bigfoot world. But I had this guy start sending me emails, and it didn't make any sense to me because the emails were coming from what he called a 30-minute email, and he wanted to call himself Mr. X. The things that he was saying, though, after I read like 2 or 3 paragraphs, the first couple ones he sent, and I just like delete, Well, then all of a sudden he started sending me stuff, and I was like, well, let me read this. Some of the stuff he started saying started falling into place, and I started trying to communicate back and forth with him. And some of the stuff he told me, there used to be there was a hurricane that came through Florida because there was a research center down in Florida that was actually owned by the United States military, but it was listed as a private company. That was a research facility. A lot of snakes, chimps, and a lot of other stuff escaped from there during that when that hurricane come through and busted it up. Mm-hmm. Well, supposedly there were some other exotic experiments that was released from there. One of them was some of these dogmen things. And from what I understand, they were supposed to be made up of human DNA, Squatch DNA, and baboon. What's going on, Red? That's one of the listeners and one of my good friends from over the show.
He says that they're created by the military.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what I think.
Well, the one that I got in a firefight with, the reason why I say that is I got really deep into it because, like I said, I've been trained military tactics. This thing used military tactics. It was able to, with 3 well-armed people, it came out of the trees right in between us, set us into a crossfire where we couldn't fire upon it because if we did, we would risk shooting each other.
Sean, go eat something, please.
That's ridiculous.
That wasn't me.
It sounded just like earlier.
Y'all need to eat that.
Unless there's a dog man behind you, go eat something.
Really, seriously.
Chris, what do you see behind me? Is there a creature trick?
I see a wall.
Look, what you got to worry about is if the room gets real dark and you're sitting there and you're just thinking about all these things, and all of a sudden you hear this come up behind you. That's when you need to get worried. Whatever that other thing is that keeps growling at me in here, though, you got to feed it.
Ain't happening, man.
But
oh, God help me.
Like I said, supposedly that's what these dogman creatures that a lot of people are seeing. Because I've seen 2 different kinds. One looks like, the only way I can describe it, excuse me, I didn't mean to bump my mic. The only way to describe it is, those big giant wolf looking things off of what's that movie? Not Twilight, but Twilight. The ones, wolves. The ones the Indians turned into. I've seen one. I thought it was a dire wolf. It was like that.
Yeah,
size.
the dire wolves are huge.
Yeah, it looked like a cow, but it was a wolf. I think that's what got me into looking into this dog man. Never thought about it. I didn't even heard of dog man. And to me, I absolutely hate that freaking term, and I hate that name.
Jenny, pull up the picture I just sent you. It was in Montana. Mysterious wolf-like creature was shot, and they're wondering if it's a wolf dog, dire wolf, or dog man. See what you think about that.
Oh, okay. Let me see if I can pull that out. Give me a second.
Miss Trish, you said you were from Arizona, right?
New Mexico.
No, New Mexico. I'm sorry. I don't know if I don't know of any stories about it there. Have you ever heard of what they call the little T-Rex?
No.
The first time I ever heard of it is when they sent us out to run security at Skinwalker. We're going on the backside.
Oh.
We were on the backside of Skinwalker Ranch doing a patrol, and the backside of the mesa is basically it looks like the moon. It's just
now that's in Nevada, right?
Yeah, but supposedly they run all up and down through there.
Right.
We're going along through there, and like I said, I hadn't been there very long, and we're doing a patrol, and all of a sudden it looked, the only way I can describe it, to me, it looked like giant ass damn turkey tracks. I'm like, what kind of damn birds y'all got around here? And the guys with me goes, oh, that's just the mini T-Rex. And it just keeps walking. Whoa, hit the pause button. You don't drop something like that talking about mini T-Rex and they keep walking. What are you talking about, mini T-Rex? Y'all got a big T-Rex? But we're talking about look like turkey tracks that were over 12 inches. Is what it looked like to me, a turkey track. But he said they were what they call a mini T-Rex. He said they were large carnivorous dinosaurs that roam around out in the desert.
I mean, there's crazy stuff in the I've seen crazy stuff growing up in the desert. Like there's, but it's something, it became normal to us. It's not.
Well, no, because out there, like I said, he's just going along, and he said, yeah, it's just a mini T. And he just keeps walking on. Whoa, wait a minute. Oh, you can't drop something like that, then keep walking. We got to talk about this. I think they figured out that thing right there that's a hoax. I think.
As I say, it doesn't look real in this picture.
That don't look like what I saw the first time anyway. And like I said, it looked like literally think of a wolf and just supersize it. That's the only way I can describe it. Now the second one, no, it looked like you took a Bigfoot body and stuck Anubis's head on it. That's what the second one looked like. And there's this guy that has his channel. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say here in Topeka and around Kansas, there's been tons of sightings of a wolf man, obviously with wolf-like features, walks on two legs, things like that, but looks like a man as well.
Well,
just in the past few years.
Well, like I said, I had never heard of. The only time I've ever heard anything about a werewolf or wolf man was over in Germany. And now they got their own stickler and lores and stuff like that over there. But like that's the only time I'd heard of that. I had nothing, didn't hear anything about no wolf man or nothing else until like 2016. And the only reason why then is because, like I said, the very first one me and my wife saw, we were coming back from going to a family outing, and we're going up in Mississippi. It's called the Natchez Trace. Part of the Trail of Tears. We were going up that, going back home, and off the side of the road, there's this giant damn wolf.
Cheers.
I'm talking about. We're in my wife's little shoebox car, damn Kia Sportage, and it's almost as big as the freaking vehicle we're in. No, that I never ever heard it. I'm thinking, okay, is this a one occurrence or what? I came back home, started trying to figure out what we saw, and that thing actually took off running towards the car like it was trying to intercept the car and trying to hit it. Is exactly what the way it acted. I thought it was trying to do, and we wasn't doing nothing except for going down the road. Now it wound up going behind the car, but it looked like it was trying to hit the car and to flip it for whatever reason. And like I said, and I contacted a couple of people, and there's one that's known in the dogman community. I won't say his name, and I ain't talking about him or nothing else, but bad blood. Anyway, so I went out and tried to find some evidence of my own and try to figure out that's what I do. So I started finding these weird occurrences. I started calling other buddies of mine in the law enforcement field and pulling. There's a lot of stuff that most what we call civilians don't get to hear of reports that don't get processed. Like one of them, the ones that got me into the area where I had everybody that's heard it calls it the dog man fight. There was a lady, she was a doctor, that broke down on the side of the road. And then there's one thing I don't do. I don't give locations of places because I've had people show up.
Yeah.
Sean.
You gotta be.
I'm not going. Look, if you want to go kill yourself, you go kill yourself. I'm telling you, these things are not nothing to play with. That's just all it is to it. This lady, the report that was done up on this, and this was a law enforcement report. She broke down. Well, she had called AAA or something. I can't remember. I don't have the report laying here in front of me. But she had called AAA or something to come out. Well, when the people showed up to help her get her off the side of the road, they found the car door driver's side window smashed, blood everywhere, and large canine tracks going away from the car.
That's nuts.
Well, they blamed it on some escapees supposedly doing something. Yeah. But the bigger thing, the biggest thing was in bold prints, large canine tracks. I'm like, I think that's what I'm looking for. So I go over there and start going up and down the road, and I stop and talk to people and stuff like that. And I finally settle on one area. Well, I get a couple of my old running buddies together from the team days, and we go out on an incursion. What we're looking for is the giant wolf-looking thing, the dire wolf-looking thing. That's what I thought Dogman was. Everybody's talking about because that's what I'd seen. Nobody told me there was more than one kind.
Well, yeah, dogwoods, they stand on their hind feet. Do the dire wolves don't do that?
Yeah, well, like I said, nobody told me there was supposedly more than one kind of these things. One of the people that was with me, her name is Natalia. And y'all are gonna be like, well, most people are like, you had a lady out there, you don't understand. This is not a normal typical lady. Her mother was a Mossad officer, and her dad was a Spetsnaz drill instructor. If y'all want to know what that is, you need to go look it up. That's as far as I'm gonna go into that. Let's put it this way: this lady is not nothing to mess with. That's if I thought she was mad at me, I walked in the room, I'd shoot her.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, because she's like John Wick female. Yeah, don't mess with
John Wick female.
Yeah, that's my kid's godmother. If I thought she was mad at me, I'd just shoot her.
Oh, jeez.
Don't mess with you.
He looks. She bumps me and says, "Vault, is that one of those booger things you're always telling us about?" And I was like, "Where?" And she points. And there's this large, black, massive fur over by a cedar tree, probably a couple hundred yards away from us. So I pull out my rangefinder binoculars, and I'm looking through it. I was like, "Yeah, that's not what we're looking for." I said, "That's a booger. We're going to give it a wide berth. We're going to go around it. That's not what we're looking for. I don't want to bother it." It stands up and turns around. That ain't a booger. That ain't what I know to be a booger. It looks like a Sasquatch from the shoulders down, except for its hands. Its hands look like giant ass damn raccoonish looking hands with these long claws, and it looks like the head of like bear on top of it, like Anubis. These 20 years, and I'm like, that ain't supposed. That don't supposed to look like that. And this thing throws its head back, sniffs the air, and kind of goes and turns around and walks off in the woods.
Did anybody get a picture of it?
No, wasn't thinking about picture. I'm sitting there trying to process what I'm seeing. This ain't supposed to be looking like this. I thought it was a damn Sasquatch. That ain't the way a Sasquatch is supposed. I ain't never seen that look like that. That looked like it looked like somebody took bits and pieces off of different large ass cryptid animals and put them together, like they were playing Legos or something. And I come back to where we're staying at, and I make a few phone calls, and I call the guy that I called and told about my first encounter. That told me that, oh, that's a dog man. I said, hey, have you ever had any reports or had somebody see something that looks like this? And I describe it. He goes, oh yeah, that's a type 2 dog man. I said, what? He says a type 2. I said, what do you mean type 2? Yeah, they have actually there's a listing of different types. There's supposedly 4 different types of these things. I've only seen 2.
Well, that's why I think they're genetically mutated or hybrids.
But what's crazy to me is these animals have been portrayed in the same manner as hybrids since the beginning of time. Since in Egyptian culture, they're in hieroglyphics. They have statues. They have all kinds of things that are part man, part dog, part, all of these
even going back to mythology, like
right. And so it's interesting to me that nobody ever believes these things can exist when they've been around since the beginning of time.
They exist. I actually now, Mr. Hamer, yeah, I can't. I look at you. Keep asking about evidence. Oh, well, I got some evidence from this thing after all this is over with. Like I said,
Mr. Hammer.
Now, when I say there's something genetically going on, this thing knew military tactics. Like I said, it watched us and learned our pattern, how we were going into the area trying to find it. And there was one little spot where we had to park at, a couple of 100 yards away. You go through this little metal field. Mm-hmm. It's a white rock boulder field over here. There's an old power substation to the other side of us. You go down in this little draw, and it's a little stand of trees about 20 yards thick, a couple 100 yards long, and then it goes out into another opening, and then you're in the foothills of the Appalachian, where the Appalachian Mountains start, the Appalachian Trail starts. You told me all of a sudden boulders start jutting out of the ground, big as houses, all this kind of stuff. And that's back up in there is where I believe this thing had been staying. As we get into that little stand of trees, this damn thing comes out of the trees right in between us, does like a Superman landing is what I tell everybody. That's the way, only way I can describe it. And it's in between all 3 of us. And we can't shoot because we're in a crossfire. Well, we automatically shift so we can get out of a crossfire. And all of us use call signs now because that's just the way we are. One of the guys that's with us is a good friend of mine. We call him Tank because he looks like a white Incredible Hulk. He fires an M60 like I fire M4. He's freakishly built. He falls back. He's our designated. He falls back to what we call the Alamo. That's our last stand. If anything goes wrong, everybody's supposed to meet back there. He falls back. Now he falls back to a lookout position, and he has a really high powered rifle stationed there. Natalia goes one way, I go another way. But when I went the other way, I went over towards that area where those rocks are, and it's just a box canyon. There's no way out. It's 20-foot tall, rocks everywhere, and there's nowhere to go. And I didn't realize that. And I get over in there, and I'm firing. Natalia's firing. You can watch the rounds hit this animal, and it looks like we're hitting a human with airsoft pellets. You can see it impacting it, kind of bothering him, but he's like, just keeps going. I fired every magazine I had. Natalia was down to her last magazine. I done pulled out my sidearm, had done went through 2 magazines, was working on the 3rd one, and was counting rounds. I had 17 rounds in each one of the magazines. When I got down to number 16, the 17th one was going in my own fucking head. because I'll be damned if I was fixing to get 8, because this thing looked like Wile E. Coyote in real life. And it's snarling, sitting there. And like I said, I can hear it breathing. I'm close enough. It's about 10 yards away from me. I fall, and there's a big rock right there. And I crawl up behind it, trying to get something in between us. And all of a sudden, I hear Tank go off. Tank is shooting a .338 special purpose built rifle. At the time, there was only 3 in the world that had been built by Knight's Armament. They took a 50 caliber round, cut it down, and put a 339 round in it. This round was designed to stop engine blocks at 1,000 yards. The first round, when it went off, he was about 300 yards away, roughly, or somewhere in there. When the first round went off and he hit it in the upper right shoulder. All of a sudden, its expression changed. Like, the way I tell people it was looking at me is like, I'm fixing to kill you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Wow. And when he hit that animal, all of a sudden its expression changed, like, oh crap, I just screwed up, because it hurt it. He actually penetrated. Well, as it turned to look towards where that round just came from, Tank hit him again. But the way he's shooting down into this rock quarry, the next round hit him in his upper right thigh, and it kind of like took his leg, not out from under him, but spun him around. He went down to like he was going down to one knee. And now he's really hurt. He's scratching around trying to get up to get away. Like, you ever seen a dog on linoleum just trying to get, they're moving like crazy, but they ain't going nowhere? That's exactly what this thing reminded me of. As it turns, Tank hits it again. He's trying to center mass it in the back to break its back so that it will stop. Well, as he pulled the trigger, it moved because it went through its back left side and come out, and stuff come out with it. The Tom Begbie waterway is like, there's a little slough off of it, and it's right there. It ran, falls, gets up, runs again, falls, and then jumps in there. And it's the last time we see, hear, or anything else. Well, we all now are back up with Tank, and we're doing a frogman leap, getting back towards the vehicle, because I'm completely out. I have a couple of rounds left in a handgun. Natalia's down to her last mag. And Tank, like I said, now he's got the only weapon so far that has hurt this thing. So we're falling back to the vehicle. We're going back. And like I said, we fired off so many rounds, multiple people called in because it sounded like World War III just started. The first law enforcement, because we're half on, half off a state federal wildlife preserve. We didn't know that at the time, but the first ones to show up are the gang wardens. Well, as he bypasses our vehicle, is driving down through there. He looks like he's doing the Dukes of Hazzard, and he pulls up and he jumps out, and he's got his hand on his weapon and hollering for us to stop. I told him, you can shoot all you fucking want. I'm going to the truck. I'm out of ammo. He said, you need to stop. Dude, I'm not stopping. I'm not. If you want to shoot. I don't give a shit. I'm going to the truck. Because like I said, I'm out of ammo. I'm thinking we got bigger weapons at the truck, and then we got more ammo. That's where I'm going for. We take off back up there. If we get up there, and I told the guy, I said, look, if you got something bigger than that sidearm in your car, you better get it. I said, because there's something out here, and it's really big, and it's pissed off now. And he goes, what are you talking about? I said, all I can tell you is it looks like Wile E. Coyote on crack rock. You need to get something bigger than your damn sidearm. Well, then all of a sudden, here comes two Mississippi State Highway Patrol flying in. They jump out of the car. What the hell is going on? Well, then Natalia flips out. Natalia has diplomatic immunity badges because of what she does, and she's not a United States citizen. She flips that out, and they start talking to her and everything. Well, then here comes two more sheriff's deputies in. They come flying in. Then here comes the local police department that we're not even in their damn jurisdiction, and they show up. So they're all trying to figure out, what are we shooting at? Who's shooting? What's going on? I told them, look, y'all can stand here and talk all you damn want to, but I'm going to get in my truck and I'm getting the hell out of here. because that shouldn't. I ain't never seen nothing like that. I ain't never had nothing that happened like that. Nothing. We need to get the hell away from here. Y'all want to talk? They're like, no. They start arguing then who's arresting us, what they're charging us with. So then that's when I said, look, I still get a phone call. And one of them's like, well, no, I need to make a phone call. So I make a phone call to Langley, Virginia, where I still have a few favors. And that's the only reason why we were let go. These sheriffs met us there and told us, if you get caught back in this county again, my county, you get caught back here again, I don't care if you've done something or not done something, I'll make up charges and then we'll deal with it later. They don't, we were escorted to the county line.
So real quick, it was years ago, there was an anonymous, it was a YouTube series about some special forces soldiers in Afghanistan who encountered many of these creatures, and specifically how they killed them and things like that. Have you seen that?
You talking about in the Kandahars?
I believe it was in that region, maybe.
I ain't seen the videos, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, they were anonymous. They were, special forces soldiers. The videos were anonymous.
Not all of them.
Well, I mean, this specific one that I saw, that's what they said they were. And I don't remember the name of it because it's been a few years, but they described almost exactly the same thing. And
well, the Taliban that was in that area, I've seen this with my own eyes. We tracked a group back that was using cave systems up there. These people, for some reason, didn't want to go in that cave system. For whatever reason, I have no idea. They stood, instead of going inside that cave system where they would be safe, secure. The only thing that would have happened was probably the front part of the cave would have collapsed in. They could have went out some other exit. They stood in artillery fire and died, besides going in their caves.
Well, these in that series had actually come from one of the Afghanistan bases. So it was, I don't know, one of their outposts or whatever. Obviously not from the American government. They were enemies, but they were all very familiar with these encounters.
That's like there's supposedly this cryptic group out there that are dealt with cryptics. If there was, I don't know. I wasn't never asked to join. And I figured a goofy person like me that was always going around, how I got my nickname Vault was, if we were somewhere down somewhere or whatever, I like stories. I especially like folklore stories. I had a notepad with me. This is before PDAs and all that crap got real popular or whatever. If you told me a folk story or whatever, I'm sitting there writing it down. And one of the guys jokingly said, man, you must have a giant ass vault back home to put all these little notes and everything, and you're always talking. I said, I'll never tell. And that's how I got my call sign. That's how I got my nickname.
I'm so sorry for interrupting, but we ran over late. We have another show. They have another show into the night after us. So I'm so sorry. I really could sit here all night and listen to you. We're going to have to bring you back on, Bob.
No problem. Hey, look, anytime
you were wonderful.
Come over to thank you. Nightmares. Because we talk about everything. And I've got a buddy that I want to introduce y'all to, especially you two up top, that is a UFO freak. I'm talking about just all that kind of stuff. It is right up his alley.
Oh, great. I'm a UFO freak. So. Okay, Bob. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr.
Yes, thank you.
No problem. Yes, thank you for coming on last minute. You're wonderful. You have a great night. Okay, guys, we got to go because we have to get into the night. We have to go into the night with Sean Kelly. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate it. If you haven't watched us before, please subscribe. Come on in and listen to us. We're a great show. And if you think you'd be a great guest, definitely give us an email at chasingprophecyradio@gmail.com. So good night, everyone.
Well, thanks for joining Churchy Tuesday.